There we go. Hello. Welcome. Hi. Welcome to a new live stream. I'm playing one of the patches in the bonus content I made for Behemoth. Cool. Love it. So fun. And I'll pull this apart. This has some fun stuff going on in it. This is raining fire on Earth, and it's using a appropriate image. All of the patches now have images tied to them. So you can go to any patch, hit play. And you have artwork. Artwork I created. Yes, using AI because it is a tool available to us now. And it's interesting to me how some people are so against these tools. It's just extensions beyond using cloning tools and other things that you have had access to in the past. I know there's some ethical things with some of it, but they are publicly available tools. And what's fun with this is I can come up with the ideas that I want for the sounds that I made. Hiring artists to do what I'm doing in this library, I don't know if they would be able to have my vision that I have for these sounds. And so I was able to make these images because these were what I wanted for my sounds. So this is the artwork that you will now find inside the library. There's one coming up in a second that for those of you, if you don't like clowns, get ready to look away. It's coming up 3, 2, 1, clown. But I can come up with ideas and explore and further refine and do things, you know, that match Behemoth and match the sound, match, you know, this is one of the sounds I did for one of the basses. So if we go to like, I think that's for, is that for stun gun? Up here, bass, nail gun. That's the one for nail gun. So for... That's the image I wanted. When you come to like phase poison. I don't know what this paint stuff is going on behind him, but fun creative stuff. Cosmos Alive. I came up with 28 images that are tied to the patches. Some are kind of funny, like Bazooka. Check this out. So the triangle version of Bazooka has a pyramid in the background, but it's shaped like a triangle. That's interesting. How about Sawtooth? Hey, that looks like Sawtooth. How about Square? So, you know, I mean... I even tried to add a little shadow to it and stuff like that. So you get my bad images of artwork and stuff. Mass Spec Bright, the Mass Spike Brass. Yeah. I love the beefy brass ensemble. Here's play the velocity switching version. It's the biggest brass, nice and big. Mount Rushmore is kind of fun for the democracy on its verge. Stuff like that. Anyway, this BPM split patch is using all of these patches. Those are the core patches. And then Raining Fire on Earth is kind of putting them all together and then getting deeper into programming. The drums, by the way, were coming from Logic. I was using 2 plugins. I was using this thing from called Decadence for doing these drums here. So that's the Decadence drum kit, which is a cool library. And then I was doing some higher energy. This is from Spitfire Audio Hammers, which is a plugin. It's not a contact library. It's inside. These are drum sounds by Charlie Clouser. Came out really cool. And the two together sound like this. So that's going on. And then inside of UniFi, we have... And there, let's see, to start with, there's 2 different bass patches. These are available, by the way, as a BPM bass patch down here called Raining Fire, where it's just the 2 basses together. I added a little delay and a few other things to it since it's just a bass by itself. If you bring up the mod wheel, it makes one bass sound darker. But you can go over to the knobs. Bring it up, get all distorted and in your face and stuff like that. So that's one element. Let's see. Let's make sure everybody's going good. Hi, good to see you all. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. From the UK and hello for the rest. Oh, you're good, Selenita. Okay, so on top of that, I have a couple sounds that have just slow LFOs at different speeds, which makes it very uncomfortable. And then when you bring up the mod wheel, it takes them way down in pitch and filters them at the same time. The images are generated in Mid-Journey. I have an account and I have a private account. I've studied very hard into using keywords and so forth to get the images to look how they look. If that's you got to use it a lot to know kind of what to say to get it to spit out what you want. And then on the right hand is a pad. Let me get the drums so they're not playing. So go up here. And it just drives me nuts how Logic works now, and they won't fix it. So if you have something highlighted but the MIDI light is not on, it still plays them. And you can't turn it off until you select another. It's very stupid. I am very disappointed in Logic right now as far as that easy use that it used to have. It's not as easy as it used to be. I can publicly say I am disappointed that they won't fix it. And then on top of this is a right-hand lead sound that's kind of fun, where if you play soft, it's one of the Swarmist layers. It's this square wave that's got this really cool unison and fades out. But if you play harder, you'll notice I have velocity switching on the layers to where layer 2 is using a pitch EG. And what you do is I've offset the pitch by 1, and then this is doing an LFO of +1, so that when I play notes, so I can have it doing, like here, if we go like here and we turn this off and this off, so we're playing the melody. Let's turn this down just a little bit. If I play hard enough, and if you hold a note down, it won't do it again because our LFO is a mono. At this point, it's a mono. It's not per voice. So if I do it once, anything I play after that doesn't have the pitchy G. But if I wanted, I could set this to 3. So if I set to +3, then I need to take this up another 2. So 11, 12, 13. And now, there. It's an offset. So the 2 together have to equal 12. So 9, and then this is doing +3. So I have it resting at the top because I want to go bending up. So the top of this curve is equaling the plus of whatever value your pitch is. So if I set this to 6, then I need this to set this to 6 because now it's, you want everything equal to 12. And then this is controlling the rate of that. So if I set to half note, let's see, let's turn down the pad a little bit. Turn this up. See? But if you blend that kind of pitchy stuff in, you get some really cool motiony things going. So you can play with that in Guru Sampler very easily. Just double click here to put in absolute values. So if I say +8, then I need to set this to +4. And I can set this like a whole note. Let's get this to be louder. And then you can control, I originally wanted to have a little bit of a slower beginning and then take off, but I can just double click this now and make this just one thing if I want to be more linear. And because this velocity switching, if I play soft, turn up louder, so you'll notice that I've set the velocity really low for amp. So if I play even soft, it's there. And then when I play hard, it's switching to another layer. So we can actually, if we wanted to, we could make a complex like 8 velocity layers of different sounds at different velocities doing different things, having different effects. I could put a little distortion on the, right? So when I'm playing soft, you can do different things to each layer. So it's a really fun experiment to play with. I also pulled out into here the special effects, very stressing to siren. So you can layer that with any BPM bass or something like that. Let's say we go, let's use Octavizer, and I can just say add instrument 1 by right clicking, and let's use pulsification. So we have a couple different basses and you have immediate tension soundtrack. Right? So that kind of stuff is really kind of fun to play with. I also put the BPM pad by itself, Raining Fire. Oh, that's a split. Pad. I think I did it as a synth because it's more of a synth thing. So Fire on Earth synth. So this is the pad and the synth. Just play soft velocities. play hard velocities. Now, if you notice, UniFi is at a new version. I didn't make a big deal out of this, but I do need to say you need to update to UniFi version 1.11.4 for this library to work right. I noticed this in the past, and it wasn't a big deal. And for this library, when I made this patch, it became more of a big deal that we should fix this. The problem was, I will show you that inside a Guru sampler, this sync button was not being called back on or off. I would save it on. I would call up the patch, and it would be off. And in the case of this patch in particular, this really has to be on at the start because it's shaping the filter because I have the phase at a different setting. It's starting at a darker point in the cycle, and without it, it's just there. But if you turn this on, now it's there and it goes away. So, UniFi 1.11.4, which is available at just log in at your account at Plugin Guru. If you bought UniFi from somewhere else, you can use the ilio.com. Here, I'll put the link for the Ilio link in the video description. There is a page. Let's see if I go here, go view. So there is this at Ilio, which has a page right here. And with this, you can download the full install or just the updater. There's important information about if you are on an Intel-based computer. This fix does not apply to 1.10.3. I'm not sure if this situation exists in 1.10.3 or not. It might be that this is something that crept up when we were doing our work to get this working better on Apple Silicon computers, and 1.10.3 might actually call it up correctly. I can't remember for sure between the two. But hopefully you have a newer computer to work with that's got an Intel processor. Is there also a fix for the pop-up windows not showing up correctly in high resolution? I think that has to do with your zoom settings, JD. I think if your zoom settings are messed up here to a different value, if you're using that can mess up the windows. Otherwise, it shouldn't mess up the windows. So we haven't been able to come up with what would be a solution to that. So we haven't looked at that. On top of this, there's one more feature added to UniFi 1.11.4. Someone who's in the chat, Selenita, I believe. You're the one, right? Selenita? Selenita asked for a internal MIDI conversion of the MIDI channel so that, yeah, oh, good. Selenita was one. So this is a ability to reroute MIDI. These are all set to all, but if I had these set to different MIDI channels, if I had these all set to this, I don't know why I'm doing this, but just to show you. So I have all these set to 1 except for this pad, which is set to 2, right? Because now I'm working in a DAW situation, but you want to test it for some reason, you can now do that. If you set this to 2, those parts don't play. The parts that have been assigned to MIDI channel 2 on the layers now play both from the keyboard, as well as from the built-in keyboard. So, there you go. Those are the two changes to UniFi for 1.11.4. So now both PC and Mac are all at 1.11.4. Sorry, it's very hot here in Boise area. It's, I think, what? Is it 102 now? It's going to be like 108. It's 99 and will be 106 at 5 p.m. So, crazy hot. And my air conditioner wasn't working a couple days ago very well. So we got that fixed. Thank goodness. Yay. So also, I see JD in the, I think it's JD, is also our friend that sent me 4 patches that we added to the Behemoth library update. So we went from 150 to 160 patches, plus everyone now has artwork. Marching off to war or something like that, you know. So we have Signs of Life, Taylor Harris, Mr. Jack Daniels, and myself now having DNA in this library. So it's really cool. So, came out very nice, very happy. There are 2 more days to get this library at its introductory price. So if you want to pick this library but you don't, I think most of you probably have it because you guys are my hardcore family supporters, which I must say I tremendously appreciate. Let me put a link into the video description. It's in the video description already, but I'll put it into our chat. And people have asked about the chat. Yes, it's very hot. I can't take my dog out for walks after like 10 in the morning or so. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that on the summer part, Ivar. So this update has been released. If you log into your account, it's there for you to download. There's also, I can give you a direct link right here if it opens up in the right place. It doesn't, but I can go over here and give you, where is it? Behemoth. It's called version 01U is the updater. This is for those of you that want to play with this, that have the library installed. Here is the video link to download it. Now, it won't work if you don't have the library installed. There's no samples, and it's still got all the encrypted patches in it and stuff like that. Thank you, Ivar. Appreciate that. So it comes out really cool. I mean, let's see some of the other artwork. If you want to see the 60 volt, I think high electricity. So got a dragon made of electricity. Mondo lately is for the basketball player. Razor cuts. I did kind of a landscape approach. I understand DaVinci Girl is working on understanding drum kits. They're different per library. The drum kits he did for Omnisphere are very different too, because Omnisphere doesn't have a drum kit mode. So he's using the patches in Omnisphere and doing the arpeggiator as kind of playing the drums for a rhythmic thing. I don't think there's any drum kits. Saberfy, did we put a drum kit in Saberfy? I can't remember. I don't know if I have. I don't have Saberfy loaded up in here right now. Anyway, moving on from here, there are, so we got the update to UniFi, the update to Behemoth are both out. So you're aware of those. There's 2 new plugins to show you, and there's the third I was going to show you today. Unfortunately, I was not having good luck. There's a free orchestra that has been made available. Let me make you aware of this. Sonos Score. They have a number of orchestral libraries that are like other companies, $400 or $500 for the full orchestra type of things. Well, they've released a new one called the Orchestra Elements. It's a little over 4 gigabytes. This morning, I tried 4 times to download this, and 4 times, close to the end, it failed. So I was not able to download or install this to show you. I wanted to show you. I got an email from someone over the night that this had been made available, and their website is being hit hard. It's very slow. If you add it to your cart, it's going to take it a while before it gets added. Then you go viewing your cart. Now it's going to work fast because it got the internet working fast, but it wasn't downloading for me. Let me see. Let's do this. I'm going to move this over here. It's moving so fast now that maybe just maybe I can click the link and somehow while I'm streaming, it will download this in the background super fast. That would be really cool. Let's see if this works. Sometimes, because my internet now is like over 900 megabytes a second, so it's super fast. But we'll see. What's the tools? What's the download speed say? Ah, that's faster than it was. Let's see. Maybe we'll do this live in the live stream. So we'll have it installing in the background. A couple other things to show you that have come out that are interesting. GeForce software. Our friends at GeForce have released a very rare version. It's, I think, I don't want to say too much about this because I don't want to get in trouble with anybody, but, they're using this basic software engine of their other, because creating a whole new engine takes years. And so they're using the architecture that they have. I don't know, maybe we can do tests here in a minute if we want to, but the OB1 is unique in some way, and it sounds really great. I don't know how much different it sounds to their other synth. They've been really exploring and expanding the OB line. Are you going to show us the products, or I have to click that or something? There's the OB1. They have all these bundles now. The OBX, the OBE, the OBSEM, the OBM EZ. So there's a lot of OB. They've got a nice relationship, it seems, with Tom Oberheim. They're officially approved by Tom Oberheim. We have unified this library. I'm having a aqua kefir. I don't know if you like soda, like I do, and you don't want to drink soda. Things like this. This is from Trader Joe's here in the United States. This is from GT, I believe. It's aqua de kefir. There's no sugar in it. It's it's got fruit sugars, so 7 grams of fruit sugars, but it's not soda sugars. Anyway, it's making me a little burpy, so I apologize. Unified OB4 GeForce OB1 is the library. One thing that's unique with this is that it has 2 oscillators. Each oscillator has a sub oscillator connected to it that has its own volume, as well as noise with the ability to go between white and pink noise. It can sound very nice and big. Right? For the assignment of the macro knobs, I think I'd set up all 32. Yes, I set up all 32 on this. So you have now the OB1. If you look at this, it has a pitch bender. It didn't have. Let's see. Go back to. The mod wheel didn't do anything. So I set up the mod wheel to play with the VCF filter cutoff, because the filter cutoff is one parameter in here that if you change this and break it, you can get it back to where it was just by moving the knob, the mod wheel, right? But since it didn't do anything, I set everything to be a filter cutoff. Because it wasn't doing anything. Went to every patch, mod wheel didn't do anything. So there's some cool BPM art patches, and they're all synced. Sounds huge. It's a very nice sounding synth. Again, you have control over like filter EG. There's a weird thing with the arpeggiator and sustain pedals. It will disrupt and turn off. I was almost thinking of adding, if you go to UniFi standard to utility to MIDI filter, if we say emulate sustain pedal, this fixes it. So now the sustain pedal, I can hit the sustain pedal. If you, let's see, you can't see because I have this up, but if I bring this, oh, aren't you showing? Oh, let's go. See, I'm hitting the green for sustain pedal. If I have this bypassed and I hit sustain pedal and then I turn off the sustain pedal, it turns off the arpeggiator. On sustain pedal, off sustain pedal. I don't know if they'll fix it as a bug. It should be fixed as a bug. But if you have this problem, add our MIDI filter and open this up and say emulate, which means emulate, be like a sustain pedal, like this doesn't work right with sustain. If you say suppress, then it will stop it so it doesn't work as a sustain pedal at all. You can also set it to emulate and latch. I haven't used that a lot, so I'm not sure what that does even. But now, it works as you expect. Aftertouch. Really nice. It's a great sounding synth. I was really impressed with a lot of this patches. Get really juicy analog kind of sounds from it. And you can fully program now page 2 of the macro knobs, you have the 4 macro knobs that are found inside the OB1. I also want to point out, I didn't set these up, but if you want, they have controls inside of this plugin. It gets rather carried away. If you go here to the instrument to OB1, a lot of assignments. And if you get over here to the end of the list, you'll see that you have macro 1, 2, 3, 4, velocity, and aftertouch. So you could set up to where you could use aftertouch to be increasing or decreasing the macro knobs if you want. Those things are available as modulation sources. I believe those are things that you would hook up inside of here to, let's say if we wanted to do VCO frequency. Here's where you switch to the sequencer versus the keyboard display. I'm not sure. I think you would hit plus here and set this to something and then change it. I'm not sure how you would do it, but you can do it. Here's your CC assignments. But you saw the hooks in there. It would take me a bit to figure out how to get it working with aftertouch, but it's there if you want to use it. 320 patches, all of them have been unified. Thank you, Shane. He has these super cool tools he's written that can look at the patch data of a lot of plugins and automatically just convert everything to UniFi. Great. And what's really cool is it also brings over the tags, if there are any, the categories and stuff like that. It sets it all up, so it's really nice. So now, when it's not the arpeggiator, the sustain pedal's working right. Let's see, I don't have show MIDI playing right. You know, that's why it's not working. There we go. There we go. Sorry. Okay, so that's unified and you can play with it. Enjoy. We had a nice time going through. There's, again, 32 pages. So I set up the submix, the tune, mix, sub-oscillator volume. So can play with those. Nice. That'd be really cool. I gotta see this really quick. Let's say Mega Magic Guitars Volume 4. Let's go to the core guitars, like the Tanglewood Steel String Natural. Let's add that. And if we want to add Bliss, let's say, I'd probably have to open this up and change to the Bliss patch right here. Tanglewood, Bliss. Cool. So fun ways to play with it in UniFi, of course, because you can add any patch from any of the other libraries. So we can make a Magic Guitars Volume 3. We could go to the guitar here as GTR. I did the organization of each of these libraries differently to confuse all of us. Thank you, Skippy. And let's add that. Pan 3 and 4 left and right. So we got two different guitar players. All right, on and on and on. So that came out really cool. The OB1 is a nice synthesizer. Very nice price, introductory price of 49 UK pounds. So it gets converted to be a different price in the US. Very analog. Will give you that kind of warm. Another synthesizer that came out this week, and I guess it's not right to call it a synthesizer. It's it's the first sample-based instrument from Cherry Audio called the Whirly Bird 140B. And here it is, and it's it's shiny, sparkly. So if you're a fan of Supertramp, all sorts of different albums and bands that have used the Nah, baby. So it's sample-based. Unlike all their other plugins, which are emulating vintage synthesizers of different types, they now have gone into sampling. So look out. I think probably Fenders are coming, and maybe B3s, and who knows what else. Because sampling is a whole other can of worms, okay? Now, as you can see, they have knobs here for velocity curve, for hum. So how bad is the ground noise in your room? I met my girlfriend yesterday. She's so cool. So you can sound like you're just in your basement as a 15-year-old. Right? You can make it out of tune if you want. For vibrato. But wait, there's one more knob. What does this do? Ah! Boom, now you have EQ, lo-fi, reverb, delay, rotator, chorus, the cherry, which I think is, phaser, and tube overdrive. And so with those, they have made lots of presets that do all sorts of... So you can get into your rocky, whirly days if you want with this. Okay, plates of cherries. So yeah, you can go some crazy places. Playing in the rain. And like all the other Cherry Audio plugins, they have this at a very nice introductory price of $39. So whereas other companies will hit you for $100 plus, probably for a plugin like this, they are in the same business model mold as they have for their others, $39. So it's pretty tough to say no to something that sounds so good and is so flexible. Even if you have one built into UniFi, it's not as good as this one. The Arturia one, I mean... Tim says, however much CA's graphic artist is being paid, they should be paid more. So you like this. Okay. Yeah, Dreamer. What was it? Dreamer. Yeah. You can do all those kind of... Supertramp really wore out the Whirly in some... We can go a lot of different places because of the effects. So that is where we are at. Is there any questions, requests, something you would like to know about UniFi? Do you want me to do a comparison with some of these plugins? Yes, there are lots of other versions of other plugins that have gone whirly crazy. Let's find a couple. Let's see. Where Arturia? You know, I don't know if I have the Arturia Whirly loaded. WHU? No. I don't think I loaded the Whirly up. I did load the Stage 73. But they did a nice job, yeah. I don't think I have Pianotech's Whirly installed. Pianotech 8. I had steel pans, hand pans, other instruments in demo. Let's see. Vibes, pianette. Is there a Whirly? The pianette. These are not Whirlies. Vintage reeds. Basic stereo. Let's go over to the Whirly and call up a more basic. They have a really nice knock to the samples. It's different. It's you know, what type of cherry pie do you like? Do you like the pie my grandma makes or somebody from Florida? You know, I mean, I think there's even a Whirly inside. DaVinci, it's not a drum kit problem. It's the drum kits work for the libraries they're designed to work for. You're trying to get MIDI files and not setting MIDI box up properly. I tried to explain that to Wilfred. So please, it's not a problem beyond just not knowing how to use the settings that are there. Let's see here if I go over here. I think there's a Whirly. We go over here to instruments. I got to move my camera for a second because I can't see. Vintage electric piano. Let's mute these guys. I think this is just going to be Rhodes. I don't think they have Whirly. No, they have clav, electric piano, and I don't think this goes into... Oh. It's not a Wurlitzer. Sorry, that's not a Whirly. 200. Oh, this is the 200A. Oh, okay. There's our reedy sounding buddy. Kind of a funny, kind of a phasey thing. I think it's done through some sort of, I don't know how they did that. So there is one inside of Logic Pro. Most plugins have. I think there's even one inside of UniFi. This just hits the right. I really like the vibe of it. It came out really good. So let's see. Are we still straightened out? There. Okay. We might make this a little bit shorter live stream today. My mom had surgery on Wednesday, and so I want to go see her. She's at a hospital about 20 minutes away from here. 6-hour surgery, so it was a pretty big deal. But she's doing really well. I'm just reading the chat for a second. Keyscape has a nice Whirly. Okay, let's call it the Keyscape Whirly. That's right. They have all the classic keyboards. So go instrument layers, solo keyscape. There's Athena. Hi, Athena. I think maybe, okay, so vintage, let's see, if we go Whirly. Or read, what do they call it? Wurlitzer, there we go, 140B. Why are we not hearing it? We should hear it by now. A little hyper. Oh, wait, that's still not the keyscape one. Why are you not playing? Huh? If acoustic pianos. Let's try it from Omnisphere really quick. I'm not sure why it is not playing. Omnisphere is not making a sound either. I don't have anything down here, and let's go init Omnisphere. Oh, you know why? This is one of those cases where, see how it's looking, it's triggering a MIDI channel 2. So even though this layer is set up, this is still transmitting on this keyboard. I had set it when I was showing you this new feature to 2. So it's working right. Let's right click on revert, see if we can go to Juno keys, and that will call up our 3 layers, I think. Yep, there we go. So let's go keyscape. I was like, that doesn't sound quite right. So it was playing right. It was listening to MIDI channel 1 and we were transmitting internally on MIDI channel 2, so it wasn't working. There we go. So now we can go Wurlitzer. There's no tremolo. Hit the sustain pedal you get. So you could go here to, let's see, effects, settings, info, main, mix. There's the mechanical stuff we can turn down. Now, one thing I like to do, if you have Omnisphere, if you go to Omnisphere and call these up, instead of calling them up inside of Keyscape, you can get into the effect parameters. So if we go over here to the Keyscape library, now the whole library is here. So we can go to the Wurlitzer, where is it at? Wurlitzer 140B, turn off tremolo. And if you hit the little X, they really like to use this tape slammer compressor pretty heavily. And it hypers all of the keyboard sounds a bit more than I like sometimes, depending on what I'm doing mix-wise. The limiter button and the gain and stuff. Tape slammer just kind of has a vibe to it. Also be aware with Keyscape, if you go to like some of all the acoustic pianos and so forth, if you go to these and you close this and go to the effects, they have the reverb. Where is it at? On auxiliary. When you turn it on, the CPU loads at 100%. So it's using the highest CPU load it can, which just be aware that you can turn this down to use less CPU processors. They have it by default set to max. No, it's a nice. I would just, if I have control over the, the other plugins don't have a compressor built into them when you call them up. So Just be aware everything inside of the Keyscape library has some fairly strong effect processing going on, which makes it sound nice in the mix, but there's times where you don't want it to be quite the way it is. And here you could go in here and you could turn off the effects. And I like it plays better for me. Plus, now you're in keys in Omnisphere, so you can go to layer C. I think if you set this on, and I think we can. Oh, it's empty. So if I said synth. So you can process, you can add 2 other oscillators of sounds, of samples inside. Let's see if we go back to here, close this. We would go to, no, not that button. Folder, thank you. So now you can get into Keyscape Creative Lands on your own. It's the vibe of Keyscape, so that I love that vibe, but there's times where it's nice to be able to turn it off. And if you have Omnisphere, you can hit the effects button when you call up a Keyscape patch and turn off the effects. So you could say, makes a big difference. Of course, Pet Sounds, it's going for a very specific EQ'd sound. Good stuff. So there's lots of whirlies out there. There's a new one in the world, and the price of entry is very appealing for many. This is a direct comparison. Let's go up there and let's go to here and call up the Whirly to 140B. Again, this is like getting into like, whose cherry pie do you like? This is why you go to a fair and they have the cherry pie competition. There's 8 different types of cherry pies, and somebody juices theirs with a little extra stuff. And then there's some of this, you know, more natural. Both are great. Maybe it's to play it in the mix. This has kind of a if I was using the piano tech, I would probably go into the filter max and put a low pass filter. And then find the max. There's something, a kind of broken reed vibe. I filter it. It's a little bit more realistic. You don't hear. Let's do it without the filter first. filtering. I like the Pianotech filtered the most. The Pianotechs, the velocity that they do the calculation, since it's not sample based, it just has another layer of, even the softest on the Omnispheres. Again, this is one of those where if you open up Omnisphere and you call this up and you maybe turn off the effects, bring up the velocity sensitivity, you can shape it more because it's in Omnisphere. So you have access to all the synthesizer parameters. But again, this just awesome, awesome, awesome. But I don't like the filter unfiltered. Maybe a little bit of that. Anyway, they are all nice in their own unique ways. If you had a song going, there's examples where you would definitely find one works better in a mix than others work in a mix, you know? One wonders if Cherry Audio will also put out the guitar pedals as an effect plugin. That wouldn't be a bad idea. I think that would be kind of fun to have all of these with ground numbs, you know, noises and stuff like that in different ways like that. Yeah. Will there be a standard drum kit mapping? No, there's no standard drum kit mapping. Sorry. Because sometimes when we're doing samples, some kits, we decide to add lots of samples. Okay. My dad's let me know my mom's taking a nap. I'm sorry, we can't standardize it. We're not in general MIDI days. What I try to do when possible is make it general MIDI or general MIDI plus 1 octave or minus 1 octave. But, you know, there's no way to standardize. For example, inside of Mega Magic Guitars 3, I think this is the one where I added all the drum kit stuff. And so it's a drum kit of drum samples. And so there's no way to standardize, you know. So, no, there's no standards. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Change velocity curve. Oh, that's another thing you could have done. Yes. Here, let's revert back to, I think, the one. Let's see here. I might actually go back to the version. Yeah, let's go back. If you right click, you can revert and you can see the timestamps, which is really helpful. Another thing you can do with these that I didn't even show, and I don't show this enough, is there's a little slashy mark right here in UniFi. This is the velocity input curve for that layer. And if you click and drag like this, you're giving more priority to the softer velocities. That makes a big difference. Wow, that's much nicer. Versus the standard velocity curve, let's say reset. There's no way to get to that soft, mushy stuff that you have inside of the Pianotech. And you could probably change this curve a little bit too. UniFi 2 will be released in January of 2025. Can't talk about it right now, but it's going to be lovely. So yeah, velocity curve is one way to get more gravy out of your dinner. Go over here and very, very nice. Hear the I don't know if you can hear that in the audio, but there's harmonics on the note offs in the Omnisphere version, the Keyscape version. In let's see, Piano Tech, none, nope, and none inside of. When it comes to electric pianos and stuff, Omnisphere is unmatched. They just sampled every detail so that sustain pedal, if you go to the Piano Tech and sustain pedal, no, the Cherry Audio, nope. Or if there is, I can't tell if it's my headphones. Let me turn off my microphone for a second. Go over here. So let's see. There is a whack. Do you hear that? So it does have sustain pedal noise. If we go UniFi, dynamics, stereo gain. So yeah, there's one sample. And let's see if we turn off the reverb. There is some sort of a note off. So they did take into account. They didn't envelope very. Omnisphere. Let's bring up a gain. So we go dynamics. Stereo gain plus 12. So we can really. And the sustain pedal. Here's the sustain pedal on the Cherry Audio. It sounds like some creature in the woods. Wow. You know, it just basically, the idea with the note offs and sustain pedal is it just adds more like those mechanical noises that make you feel like you're playing the real instrument, because they're not quiet, you know, little instruments when you play the real thing. So it's cool that they take those things into account. Mating frogs, exactly. Let's see. Okay, well, I'm gonna call this a little short and go see my mom in the hospital. She gets to go home, I think, tomorrow. She had a strange thing. She was walking out of the bathroom to her bed, and right in the middle of her left leg, the bone just snapped, and she fell, and it pushed through skin and muscle and hurt like crazy. It didn't break out of the skin, but she's had 4 surgeries to fix this thing. I think they've got it. So they think that this new procedure they're doing is gonna get everything to grow. The bone would not fuse back together, and it hurt. So hopefully they've got it all fixed. Send out her unified love. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. So I'm going to go see my mama. That's why I moved to Idaho in the first place. So. Thank you for joining us for the live stream. Again, UniFi 1.11.4 is out as a free update, and using it will make some of the patches in Behemoth play as expected, whereas they don't play right otherwise. Raining Fire being the one in case example, I was able to show Shane saying like, see, this is what we need to fix this, because when you call it up, that's not what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be this. Now you hear all the other stuff in the sound, you know? So, this update makes it so that when you call up patches, this, if it's turned on when I saved it, it now calls it up turned on when you call it up. It did not do it before. So that's the only really major thing in the update. But as I said, there's also on the MIDI page the ability to change the output MIDI channel. For those of you using Contact, Halion, other plugins where you have multiple channels inside of a single plugin, you can now set this to 2 and now be playing and talking to things that just go to MIDI channel 2. This parameter is not saved, is basically, that's why we call it for testing. It's just to be set, and then when you turn off UniFi and you call it back up, it will reset back to no change, because that's the default way it should be behaving. But if you need to get access to playing, I wish I could show you the strings, because it would have been really interesting to compare, but couldn't get them to download. UniFi rocks. Yes. All right. Well, let's do this. I'm going to do a shout out from Eagle, Idaho. Shout out from. It's still funny, and kind of like I'm hosting a live stream, you know. I'm not used to it sometimes. It's like, hey, I get to do the shout outs and stuff like that. From Tennessee. Nice, Todd. Good to see you. Norway and Ivar, London. Thank you. Selenita was the one that wrote us with the suggestion for the MIDI output assignment. And so thank you. We do listen to customer input. We have a list of some 60 pages of requests. And this was one, because we have the MIDI output assignment on per layer already, it wasn't that big of a challenge for Shane to spend some time to get it working inside of UniFi. So we were really glad with that. Look at that. We got Tokyo, Space Coast in Florida for Ron. Hey, good. Thank you for joining, Ron. Barry in the Netherlands. Oh, you guys, I think you lost in the Euro finals, the soccer finals. The finals are tomorrow for both the Americas, the Copa finals and stuff like that. I can't wait. There's like Wimbledon and 2 soccer international finals on Sunday. It's going to be a crazy day. Yeah, Spain versus England is tomorrow. Yeah. Big day in England. My goodness. Yeah, I love all that stuff. Good, Glenn. Good to see you, mate. Thank you for joining from Australia. My web designer is from Sydney, so I would not be here if it was not for Peter in Sydney, Australia, helping me out many years ago to get started. Da Vinci Girl in Germany, thank you for your support. Waiting for potato samples. Yeah, we got potatoes coming out our ears around here, let me tell you. No, we don't. Actually, my hometown, Ontario, Oregon, is where there's a great big potato plant, stuff like that. Shout out from Colorado, Dave. Good to see you. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week for another fun live stream. Got all sorts of fun stuff in the works. I can't wait to show you. Bright Band in Cologne, I see you. Thank you for joining, my friend. All right. So, again, UniFi 1.11.4, the Behemoth update, the final version, now with 160 patches, is out. If you want, you can go here and you can say bonus, and it will show you the latest new patches that were created. There's Also, another pad I made called Heavenly Dentist. And if you bring up the module, you get a Pulsy synth. Also, the Pulsar Power Plant was really, really cool. Came out very nice for the... And if you bring up the mod wheel, so I thought that'd be pretty cool to put in a dance track. And again, with something like this, I have the knob. Oh, I didn't do the knobs on this one. I missed one. You can just solo. Tell you what, we got 10 minutes. We'll do the knob assignments together. So I'll show you how we do knob assignments. So here's a pad. And I spent time getting knob 1 so that it had the shape that I wanted. As it got up to the top, I wanted the filter cutoff from MIDI box. Oh, that's the name of the layer, but it's doing the wet dry mix. I wanted to bring down the wet dry mix so it wasn't, when it gets up here to the max, I didn't want it to be too. So I brought the mix down. It's also doing a filter cutoff. Right? So I got that right, but these guys here are set to non-existent knobs. So I'm gonna hold down Option and click the bullet, and that will reset these to their default names. And I don't think I set any on knob 2. So what I really want to do is mainly just give access to the volume. So I'm going to say layer 1 volume, copy, double click, paste, double click, change this to 2, change this to 3, and then open up each one of these, and I set it to this parameter here. This is the box that says at the maximum, I want it to be this box, I'm sorry. Where it's in the middle of the box, that means current value. So this is current value to 0 when that's what you want to do with the volume slider, right? So I'm just going to go to each one of these. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside a Guru sampler. I'm going to use master level. And the reason I use this is because inside of UniFi, there is a block chunk for all the timing events. And the volume sliders here are subject to that block volume timing event, and so you'll hear a little bit of stair stepping sometimes. Whereas inside of the plugins, we don't have that. We can work at a DSP level that's not in the clock standard that the rest of the host works in. So by using the master level inside of each of these plugins, I can get it to where it's now going from max to minimum, master level. And I also don't adjust these volumes. So you can change these volumes in the future, which is another nice benefit of doing it this way. So layer 3, Guru sampler, master level. Now they're all set up. So I can turn down layer 1 and layer 2. And you see them here. Oh, wait. Now, as a comparison, let's take this volume and let's use this macro knob just as a test. We're going to say current volume. We're going to go layer 3 mix level. So now we're changing this slider here. And as I move the knob, oh wait, you might not hear it so much, but there are cases, especially with darker sounds, basses and so forth, where you will hear a little bit of stepping, and I try to avoid that if I can. And turns out that by setting these to the internal inside a Guru sampler, there's no stepping. So now the other thing I'd like to do is I have pump effects happening in each one of these synths. So this is where you kind of like do your what we like to call your what's that, Sherlock Holmes kind of stuff. And I noticed that this is using the LFO curve with a crazy shape that I created to do this one, because there's no pump house, right? This one is done by pump house, and this one is done by pump house. So I could say layer one pump, and let's set this so we use current value to 0, and I'm going to go into layer 1, and I was doing both the LFO amp depth, right? And I was also doing the LFO cutoff depth. Remember this, these are parameters for the max and the minimum on a bipolar scale, which means if I click this, it's minus 100. I don't want it to be minus 100, I want it to be 0. So I can click a node, and when it's lit green, it shows me the value. I can double click here, and I can say 0, and it will change that node to the value that I put in there. So for both of these, now amp is different. Amp is not bipolar because it's either no volume or max. So filter cutoff, I needed to stop it so it didn't go negative, but the amp, I didn't need to do that because it's there. So by doing that, I now have it so that, let's see, let's turn down layer 2 and layer 3. And we still have cutoff happening. Because of MIDI box. Because this is playing an 8th note pulse. So I'm going to still have an 8th note pulse because I was doing the pulse plus LFO tricks at the same time on layer 1. I could do this if I wanted to. If I wanted to like really turn this off, I believe I could say, give me one more parameter to MIDI box on the MIDI effects. And I could say, do I have an, I don't know if we ever put a note on. I could say bypass. So if I said bypass for the very bottom part, and then from there, jump to on. So this way when it's all the way down, oh, you know what? I probably have to have bypass all the way up and have this all the way down. So let's go like this. There, bypass needs to be on to be bypassed. So we reversed it. So if I bring this to here, now I just have a dark pad. Which means that when I move this knob around, it's gonna get, now it's a little bit more, and I don't like to do this because I don't want to assign filter cutoff here when it might be showing up somewhere else. But let's say current value to current value of Guru Sampler's filter cutoff. So I'm not changing it, but let's say that when you hit all the way to here to the very bottom, let's have it come up some. I absolutely love the fact that I can click a node to an assignment and move it and hear it. No other plugin on the planet that I know of does this, and it's wonderful. You can listen and go, okay, I want the filter cut off. Yeah, that's exactly where I want it. So, maybe a little darker. So get those to be in sync. So I can make it now so that this knob, that's pump, when it's all the way down, it's off. There's no pump and it's just a pad. And then when I bring this up a little bit, I could even do this. I could get really carried away and tricky and have it so that this is a nice, ooh, so just that little bit of range will take it from a nice bright pad to dark. And right there, I want the filter cutoff depth to be a little bit higher. Just a little bit, so I can just hear it a little bit. So this is the kind of microsurgery you can do in UniFi that you can't do anywhere else. And hear the feedback. Isn't that nice? So that's the stuff that you can get carried away with and spend a long time with. So now let's go layer 2, layer 3 pump. Layer 2 pump. And we'll make them separate. So if you want, you can make each one layer 3 pump. I knew I was going to use all my time. It never fails. It never fails. So this one here, all we have to do is say current value to 0 for this. Go to layer 2, to the effects, to pump house, to depth, because that's the parameter. And anytime if you're not sure of something, just, call up layer 2. Go, I want to, bypass this as your first test. Yeah, I want it to be like this when I have the knob down. And you see that this is your depth. Now, I'm not going to 100%. So if I wanted to, what might be fun with this is to delete this one and instead say minimum to max, so that when I go over here and I say effect, pump house, depth, it moves the knob to where it currently is, but it gives me access to go to 100% if I want to. So that's really handy. And let's do that for layer 3 too. Minimum to max, layer 3, effect, pump house, depth. And it was at a max setting. So if I don't touch this, I hold down Option and I hit Save. If you do these steps at your house, I'm gonna actually put this up so you can download. I mean, programming in UniFi is the best. I mean, I've programmed all my life as a programmer. That's what I do. And so to have an environment where you have this level of microscopic control to the knobs, where you can have it doing one layer knob parameters, actually changing 4 different parameters in multiple effects at once. That power just does not exist anywhere else. That's why we love UniFi so much. So now I have separate volume to all 3 layers. And if I don't touch these, well, layer pump, I want to have this at max because that's how it was when I call up. So I'm going to hold on Option and Save because that's how it needs to be when I call it up. And then if I want, I can bring down the layer 1 pump. Turn down the volumes. Just have a nice pad. Then bring it back into this part when you get back to that part of your song. So the power is, it's real. It's a real thing. So let's right click on this, reveal in the Finder. Let's put this over here. And let's make this really quickly a little simple thing so that you guys can work this. So I go libraries. And we need to go over here and say UniFi libraries. I'm going to take the Behemoth library. This is what I'm doing. I'm taking Behemoth. I'm copying the entire 1.61 gigabyte library into this folder. Right? Now this patch exists in the folder. So I'm going to open up libraries. I'm going to open up Behemoth. I don't want to give you guys anything in the media, MIDI files, or samples, but in patches, let's go to date modified, and let's go everything but, wait, cancel, delete. So all it does is it's going to update this file inside of your version of the Behemoth library. So now we're going to say compress. And, oh, wait, I didn't want to double click. So let's go over here to the name. We'll copy the name to start, and then I'll modify it. So here's our zip file, right? So we're going to call this let's go to here. Behemoth. This is what? This is Pulsar Power Plant knob update. And we'll put .guru instead of .zip, because that way all you will have to do is drag this over UniFi, say okay. It will update Power Plant so that it plays, and it has the knob assignments just like you see right here. So let me put this into a little folder in my Dropbox directories. Livestream programming. This is 07/13/24 Behemoth. Oh wait, I spelled it wrong. 07/13/24. So I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to copy the Dropbox link. Yes, I'm giving everybody this patch. Right there it is. I will also right now, so I don't forget, because sometimes I forget. Library updated. Get the latest version and install first, then install this update to the Pulsar Power Plant patch we did at the end of the live stream. And there's the link for that sucker. Okay? All right. And the free firework drum kit is still listed in the video description as well. We made that in last week's live stream. But there you go. That gets you that. It takes a long time to do knob updates, and so sometimes I forget. It's like when programming the Korg Kronos. That is a synthesizer that would literally take, for the combinations using GEs and all the layers, 8 knobs to assign, the real-time controls, the 2 switches, the vector joystick. It would take literally days to make one combination finalized. And sometimes we would have patches where we had like taken it to a certain point, but we hadn't done any knob assignments, and we sent those off and they got voted in, because you don't want to do all that extra work to the patches that aren't going to get selected, right? So then you get the work, your presets back, and then you have to spend like another week doing nothing but knob assignments. And it's just like, the most hard work. So this work is actually really easy compared to that, because the tools are there and the controls are there to easily set things up to get that to do exactly what you want. And sometimes inside of the Kronos, you have to do tricks and you have to do compromise and so forth, because we don't have curvatures and we don't have the ability to do the same things with knob assignments that we can do inside of UniFi. So I come from a background of, it's like I've been in the war and working on a Korg synthesizer combination mode is like 10 times the work of even a complex UniFi patch. So thanks, Ken. I appreciate that. That's very nice. Thank you. So enjoy the patches. I can't tell you what I'm working on yet, but I'm ordering all sorts of things that are coming in the mail that I'm sampling and stuff like that. So it's very exciting. Having some fun. And we will see you in the next live stream. Maybe I'll have more information to show by then. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see how this week goes. But thanks for joining. Good to see you all. Oh, I cut off my head. That happens. This stand my camera is on. It likes to wobble when I'm playing on the keyboard. Look at it, will like wobble, go down, stuff like that. All right. Be well, be creative, have a great week, and we will see you next week for another live stream, okay?